business, that is called international business. What they do, in the multiple countries are involved in the business, including trade and investment across the border. So not only in the domestic purpose, it is the international level. So that is why it is called across borders. So that is called international business. That it is assemble, produce, and market on a global scale. And then governments and agencies also participate in this transaction. That's all. So all the countries, those countries are involved in the international business. That countries' governments are involved in where to produce and then assemble and then marketing to global scale. The scale means measurement. Global level means international level. So on the international level, how much the production is needed. Now how to market it. So that is doing through the governments only. So that is called international business management. And the agencies also doing, they are also participating in this transaction because government cannot directly conduct or they are doing their business. Instead of government, some agencies also, government agencies also doing this transaction. So this is the simple introduction about international business management. So simply we say goods and services or transaction to more countries across the borders, not only goods and services, they are transferring their investments and then their intellectual property. So these all are called international business. So one by one we see. The first one, just to overview. So what they do. Already we say it is a commercial purpose only because they wanted to increase the profits, not the welfare of the people or welfare of the society. This is a truly commercial purpose. They are doing transaction and exchange the goods and services and also their ideas and intellectual property also between the two countries. So that transaction is called international business. Then more than two countries involved dependent on different factors because the factors are not homogeneous because within the country the factors are homogeneous like labor, capital or entrepreneurs are homogeneous within the border or within the domestic country, but in the international level or the global level this is called different factors because that factors are differ. For example, if developing countries like India, we are having manpower is more and more. That is why the labor factor is enormous. It is a flourished. But the developed countries like European countries, USA or USSR, so that country is having more investments because they are having the capital. So that factor is huge. So that is called the countries are dependent. There are different factors of those countries only. And also their political and economical, legal, social factors are different only. That is why the different factors and different types of political, economy, legal, social factors are involved in international business. Then not only the legal, political, economy, apart from the culture, because the each every country having their own culture only, they are following their culture only. So here international business, there are different types of cultures or practice in the business. So that is why the cultural factors of the countries also affects the international business. The next one, scope of international business. So this is a part C question, very important because the scope means where they are extend. That is called scope only. Suppose we draw the circle on the paper or the board. In the circle, where the circle is ends. So that is called the scope. So here the international business, the border or the level is where. That is called only scope. So the scope of international business. Within that circle, what are they included? That is called scope. So one by one, we will see. The first one, the international trade means they are exchanging not only goods and services, intellectual property also. So some agreement based they are purchasing and they are selling. That is the first scope because they are transacting the goods and services, intellectual property. The next scope, international negotiation, some arrangements. Negotiation means they are making some arrangements also. Why they are arrangements? Making the arrangements because two countries are helps and related the parties. Why? Because for improving the better relations among them. So this is the major reason they are doing their international business. So the international negotiations means the arrangements are making the movements of the international business level. So that is called international negotiation. Why they are doing some arrangement? Because they wanted to resolving disputes between them through these negotiations only. Because without negotiations, they cannot do anything in future business. That's why before they are involving the trade, they are making some arrangements or some documentation. That is called negotiation. International negotiation is the second scope. And the third one is cross-cultural management. Already we know the cultures are various in international trade because various countries are involved in the transaction of business. That is why they wanted to manage the cross culture also. It is very important because the cultures are only truly by the country's origin only. So the European culture is differ from Asian countries, and also it is also differ from the Arab countries also. That is why the cultural management is very, very important in international business. So this is called cross-cultural management. We treat all people are equal or all cultures are equal values. So that ethics we will follow or we will practice in international business. Then only we will maintain the international business very smooth and soft to other countries. So a cross culture management in environment is created through this international business. And they have to manage various people from different cultures who come together under this international business. So why the cross culture management is important? The smooth transaction between the countries and also helps in improving better communication between two parties. So the communication skills also improving only. The next scope, global marketing. So global level means the international level. That is called global. So how can they market the producing? The producer or the producers, the producing goods will be market in one place or the one particular area. That is called global marketing. So a specific company can target its customer, not only in the domestic market. Because international market, that is why that market is called global market. So they are selling or buying the goods, that is called global marketing. And also in the markets of different countries. Already we know different countries doing the business. That is why they are considering and also adjusting their needs according to their culture also. So that is called global marketing. The next one, foreign direct investment, FDI, because the investments are made by the other countries in the domestic country. That is called foreign direct investment. If FDI will be increases means our own economy also increases. That is why all countries in the world, they will be increase the FDI. So through the international business only it is possible because the other countries willing to start their business in the domestic country. So the company of other countries are starting their investment in different countries because it is a investment or purchasing or acquiring a company, whatever may be. The other countries are doing their business in the domestic country. So it is called, it is acquiring a company which already exists in the foreign market and has a very good consumer base only. So the FDI is increases where or when it is increases only the already existing markets. It is a smooth in the foreign currency or foreign market. Then only they are doing their FDI or they are investing the FDI in the other countries or the domestic country. So this is called FDI. And also FDI is an important role to starting of a business and its expansion as well. Because without FDI, we cannot expansion the international trade. The next one, growth opportunity. Because the opportunities are given by the multiple countries. So the various countries are involved in the transaction of goods and services. That is why they are related to the international trade for their own benefit. Also in the way of creating more opportunities. So usually entrepreneurship will be increases what happened in the economic development through the growth of the employment opportunity. So overall opportunities are growth. That is why in the international business also creating more job opportunities in their own country and also strengthening their own economy. Then exchange of foreign currency. We know because the currencies are more than one currency. Domestic currency not only involved, more than one currency. That is called the international currency or the international business. They wanted to exchange their foreign currency. So they are importing and exporting the goods and services. That is why the countries are exchanging their currency. So that is the consideration of goods and services and improving a country's foreign exchange reserve also. So the foreign exchange reserve is, it will be differ from country to country. That is called exchange of foreign currency. So the next topic is importance of international business. So till this lecture, you have any doubt, ask me. I will repeat. What is international business? Is what is the scope of international business? You have any doubt? Yes, just interact with me, ma. No doubt. I'll be very clear. Okay, shall we move the next slide? The scope is completed and the next topic is importance of international business. Why we are doing international business or why we are interested in expanding the international business. So that is called importance. The first one is economic growth because we are promoting the trade level, investment level and entrepreneurship level. These all are improved. What happened? Overall, the country's economy will be growth. So the first important is economic growth only because through the entrepreneurship only the countries play an important role in the growth of economy. How they are growth in the economy? Through the entrepreneurship, because there are more job opportunities are creating in the domestic country and also in the global level. That is why the opportunities of employment will be increases. The employment level increases, what happen? People income will be increases. That is why they will spend more money and their buying capacity also enlarging. So they're buying more goods and services from the market. That is also scrutinizing the supply level. It will be increase the supply level. If demand will increases, the supply also increases. That is why we say supply and demand is directly related. So how much the demand will increases, that much of supply also increases. Why? Because entrepreneurs or the producers wanted to maximize their profit level. That is why the producer will be equal the production or the supply to demand. So overall, the economic growth will be possible only the international business is enlarging. The next one, economic growth. So promoting the entrepreneurship, only the economic growth is possible, already we know. And also the job opportunities are generated and increasing the income of the individuals. So the disposable income of the persons will increase. This means they will be spent more and more to buying the goods and services from the market. If the goods and services will be increases, the demand will be increases only, the supply also increases. The next one, more innovation and technology because they are involving the international level business means they will compete the other countries technology and innovation also. That is why they wanted to scrutinize or improving their innovation technology. So more innovation and technology is important in global level market or the international business. So this is called the globalization era. So everything is conducted through the technological support only and also required for companies to improve and speed up the activity. So that is called more innovation and technology. Next one, political cooperation. Because more countries, more than 2 or 3 countries are involving in the international business, their political cooperation is very must. Without the political cooperation, they cannot do their business smoothly. That is what the economic interdependence between two countries leads a better negotiation. Negotiation means they are making some arrangements, their documentation for the future purpose. This is the rules and regulation we have to follow our transaction between the two countries or four countries or three countries, whatever, maybe more than two countries are doing the international business. So political cooperation is very must. Then only they will be easily solve their disputes. So the countries which leads to cooperation in various policies like trade policy, environmental policy, whatever may be, the political cooperation is very must in the international business level. The next one, cultural exchanges. They are not only exchanging their goods and services, also they are exchanging their cultural also. That is called cultural exchange. So the international business between two different countries promote the exchange and also understanding of people with different countries, cultures also. So that is why they learn from one another and respect each other's culture. So the culture exchange is very must or very important in international business. Then employment opportunity. We know already it is important. And then employment opportunity only increases through the international business only. Yes. You have any doubt, ma? Yes. No. Okay. Then employment opportunity is increased through the international business only. It will be improve the standard of living because the employment level is expanding, their income level also increases. So their purchasing capacity also increases. So this purchasing capacity increases, the standard of living is improved. Their living standard will be improved through the employments only. That is why it will help in the improving the standard of living of people, one country along with the other countries involved. The next one, proper utilization of resources. Yes, yes. Who is speaking? If you have any doubt, ask me. Ritika, kindly mute your mic, and also Mahalingam, Jacqueline, kindly mute your. Yes, kindly mute. Yes. Okay. So the proper utilization of resources. So the resources will be differ in the country to country. So on that concept, the proper utilization, the maximizing utilization, that is called the proper utilization of resources. So properly they are used. And then rest of the extra goods are exported to other country while already meeting the needs of the consumers as per their needs. Yes. So already they are meeting their own needs or their own wants. So what happen if the proper utilization of resources is possible, then only we can meet or we can solve the extra demand or the existing demand only. So that is called other country while exported the goods. Why? Because of already the meeting the needs in the countries and of the consumers as per their needs only. So that is called proper utilization of resources. Maximum utilization or the optimum utilization of resources. That is called proper utilization. They cannot waste the utilization resources or they cannot underutilization. So the proper level, they have to utilize the resources. Then only they will meet the global level needs or the demand only. So the utilization is maximum level means what happened? The outputs also maximum. So the goods and services also maximum level to meet the consumer needs also. So that is called proper utilization of resources. Then the next topic is the nature of international business. So what are the nature? Basically, it is a complexity. Why? Because more than two countries are involved in the business means it is only the complexity, the complex only, not only one, it will be multiple. That is called complexity. So what are the complexity? Political risk also they are face and also the cultural differences and also the different rules and regulations of the different countries. So the complexity will be increases. So in the international business, that is the first nature, the complexity. The next one, risk and uncertainty. Usually, the entrepreneur means those who are willing to take the risk. So they are that person, or they are only called as entrepreneurs. In the individual entrepreneur, in the same world level or the global level, the risk and uncertainty is possible. It is a unavoidable situation in international business also. So that is why the second nature is risk and uncertainty. Currency fluctuations will be happens because more than one country's currencies are involved in the international level business. That is why that fluctuations also do, because within the country or the domestic country only the fluctuation will be done, but in the international level means it is a unavoidable. That is called currency fluctuation. Here the fluctuation means the face value of the currency, that is called the fluctuation. It will be increase or decrease. So the, for example, suppose there are three countries are involved, A, B, C. Suppose the A currency is very well, it is a very developed country. So that is why the currency value is very high. But the B currency is a nominal, or it is a only the middle level. But the C country is a only the developing countries or underdeveloped country. So that currency value is very low comparing to A and B. So under these circumstances, the currency fluctuation will be meet the overall three countries. Which countries are involved in the same business? They will be taking the risk and uncertainty in the currency fluctuation. The next one, different political policies and cultural differences. It's already we know, because more than two countries are involved in international business means the political policies also differ. Their political rules and regulations are differ from country to country. And also the cultural difference. Already they know the more than one country means the culture also differ only. So that uncertainty or that risk also they will be involved in the various risk and uncertainties. So the company must develop the acquire a way to cope up. So they wanted to cope up only, then only they will be decline or decrease the risk and uncertainty. They will be cope up only. So that is very important, risk and uncertainty. The next one, the geographic spread. Yes, how much that borders will be in the geographical area. That is called geographic spread. So the scope, that is called only the border. The scope and importance of the international business across the borders of the countries. So that they deal with the countries with a different culture and economic environment along with the different needs also. So the target consumer of that country. So the geographic spread is one of the feature of international business. Then more potential than the domestic market. Yes, because within the country, within the domestic only, if they are called the low potential only. Suppose in the international level means it is the high potential. Then, when the company moves from one country to another to serve the needs of target consumers, because they wanted to meet the all consumers. Here, the all means the other countries also. So that is why they wanted to move their business in successful means they are having more potential than the domestic market. So the country, then there are more growth opportunities for the company than staying within the boundaries of the domestic market. The next one, importance of relationship. So yes, they are relating to other countries. That is why their relationship is very important in the business level. So the success of international business is only that depends on good relationships with the suppliers, the target customers, and partners of business in different countries to be successful in the global market. So the relationship is very important. That is called importance of relationship. Here the relationship means in international level, those countries or those governments are related or involved in the international business. Their relationship, that is called the relationship between the suppliers and the target customers. So the importance is relationships gives to importance only. The next one. Next topic is globalization. So globalization is very familiar word only we know, because the globalization means under the one net countries are doing their business. That is called globalization. So the domestic country is only the certain limits, but the globalization means there is no limit. They are extending the exchanging. So that is called globalization. So that is called internalization. The same context only, major difference only. Because the globalization means most or much larger process and often includes the assimilation of the markets as a whole. Moreover, we talk about globalization, we take up the cultural context as well. So that is the difference only. Here the globalization means we will take up the cultural context also, not only the transaction, the goods and service. So that is a slight difference between international business and globalization. So the international level means they are wanted to sharing or they are exchanging their goods and services only. But the globalization means apart from goods and services, they wanted to exchange their cultural context also. That is called globalization. The next one. Globalization means intensification of cross-country political, cultural, social, economic, and technological. So these all are intensification. They are intersect their cultures and also the social level, political rules and regulation and economic depending and then technological interactions also. So that is called globalization. The meaning of globalization means this is the meaning only. They are interacting these components all. So that result in the formation of transition of business organization. So it also refers to the assimilation of economic, political, and social initiative on a global scale. The next one. So the globalization also refers to costless cross-border transition. Why it is called costless? Because there is no cost they wanted to pay the another country to doing that international business. So that is called costless. There is no any fees at all they wanted to pay to other country because they are simply or they are easily moving the other country doing their business. That is why it is called costless cross-border transition of goods and services. Not only goods and services, capital also transacting and knowledge and labor. So that is called globalization. Then the next topic is the drivers of international business. Yes. Before we moving this topic, so what are the topics we are taking or we are discussing in this class? Any one of you? Just summarizing the topics only. Which topics we are analyzing or discussing in this class? The first half an hour. Is any one of you? Yes. Is what are the topics? Yes, Ritika or anyone? Yes, what are the topics? Listen. Yes, just summarize the topics only, not the elaboration, just topics. What are the topics we discuss? Yes, ma'am.
International business management, scope of
Yes,
international management,
very
importance of
good.
business management,
Good.
nature, economic of international business, ma'am, nature
No,
of
yes, nature.
international business,
Okay.
importance of relationship,
Yes,
globalization, ma'am.
international. Okay, yeah, globalization. Good. So, till the globalization, all of you very clear. No, thank you, Ramya.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So, the next one is the drivers. So, what are the drivers involving in the international business? Is what do you mean by drivers? The driver means what? Drivers of international business. Here, what do you mean by drivers? Idea? How they are achieving their objectives of the business. That is called drivers only. Through these factors, that is called drive. So the drivers means the uplifting the business level. That is called drivers only. Okay. So what are the drivers involving in international business? One by one, we will see. The first one, higher rate of profits. Because all the businessmen, not only the individual, in the global level also, all the businessmen only expecting the higher rate of profit only, because without the profit they cannot do their business. So that is the first drive, higher rate of profit only. So the normal profit is possible in the domestic business, but in the international level, why they are moving to international level, why they are exporting the goods and services to the other countries? Because they're expecting the higher rate of profit. So this is the first drive of international business. Then second one, expanding the production capacity. The units production will be expanding, because in the domestic level, suppose they are producing only the 10,000 or 1 lakh only per week or per month. Suppose it is a exporting, means it will be enlarging the production capacity. That is called expanding the production capacity. The units production will be increases optimum level. That is called expanding the production capacity. And then third one is a limited home market, because within the country means the market will be limited, because only one country and one currency, only one government, own economic policy. So that is why it is called a limited home market. But under the international level market, the scope will be enlarging. That is why the limited home market will be avoided in the international level. So this is the one of the major role or the major drive of international business. Limited home market will be exceed through the business. The next one, political stability versus political instability. Here, so the political stability does not mean only the continuation of the same party in the power, but it means that continuation of the same policy of the government for a quick long period. Because the political party means within the country or the internal trade only it is possible, but in international level, not the political party power, their policies only. So the government policies, they wanted to stabilize in the international level, because the political policies will be ups and downs. The more fluctuation in government policy means what happen in international level, the policy will be affect the expansion of the international trade. That is why the same policy will be followed by the government in the long period only. The next one, for example, in USA, so in current period or the nowadays, you will hear the USA policies. What happened? It is a unstable only. What happened to other countries? It will be affected the other countries' trade and their policy and their profit in the, all the sources will be affected, because of the political policies is not stable. What happened? It will be affected the international level, not only that country. So here most of the African countries and some of the Asian countries politically unstable countries only, because the business firms prefer to enter the politically stable only. Otherwise, they cannot enter the other countries. That the restraint from locating their own business operating in politically unstable countries only. For example, if it is a well flourished country or it is a well developed economic country, suppose it is a Germany. In Germany, they are maintaining or they are following the stable political policies, but the underdeveloped country cannot do like that, because they are only the developing only or they are the underdeveloped. So in that context, what happened? Business firms have prefer to enter the politically stable countries only, not the unstable countries. Why? Because they wanted to stable their business in the other countries also. So in fact, business firms shift their operations politically also. Then next one, high cost of transportation. So initially companies enter foreign countries. What happened? Because of the marketing operation only, they are entering in the foreign countries or the international level. So the home companies in any country enjoy their higher profit margin only. That is why they are comparing to the foreign firms, and also the cost of transportation of the products. Suppose the distance is very long, what happened? The transportation cost also very high. So they cannot do their business in the high cost transportation products. Under these conditions, what happened? The foreign companies or the inclined that increase their product or the profit only. So where the transportation cost is low, that country is only involving the foreign trade only. Because of FDI is only the satisfy the demand of either one of the countries or group of neighboring countries. So FDI is one of the solution to high cost of transportation because they are investing their currencies in the another country. Then they will be started the factories in the other countries also, not only in the home country. So because of in the home country, they are producing the goods and services means they wanted to transport the other countries. In that services, what happened? The transportation cost is very high. That is why they avoid that and they will be do their FDI in the other countries and then they will be started to their business in other countries also. So this is the example only. So the mobile which was supplying petroleum mobile. Yes, that is the country name only. Petroleum products to Ethiopia, Kenya, Eritrea, Sudan, etc. So these countries are producing the petroleum and supplying. So it is the refineries in Saudi Arabia. Why? Because in Saudi Arabia only having the petroleum products only, but not the other countries. That is why they only producing the petroleum products and they will be exporting their products to other countries only. So like this level, they wanted to reduce the cost of transportation because the cost of transportation is not it is a unavoidable one because the production is only in these countries only, not through the FDI. They cannot do. Only they are doing own country and they will be exporting the production. So that is why they wanted to less the cost of transportation. Next one, availability of raw materials. Then raw materials. Raw material means it is only the raw type. After that, we will be doing the production and finished goods. So that is called raw material. So here then the raw material is a highly qualitative in international level. Already we know A grade, B grade and C grade. So in the A grade level only raw materials they wanted to do or they wanted to use in the international level. So the qualitative raw materials and bulk raw material is a major factor in attracting companies from various foreign currencies. Because in the world level, which raw material is very high quality, other countries wanted to prefer that profit only or that company's profit only. That is why the source of qualitative raw material is very high. The next one, liberalization, globalization. So the liberalization means already we know there is no extent or there is no liberal means what? The freedom only. Easily we can move other countries or the other borders also they will do their business. That is called liberalization. And globalization means under the one net all the countries are doing the business transaction. That is called globalization. That is a difference between liberalization and globalization. So the most of the countries around the globe liberalized their economies and opened their countries to rest of the globe. So that is called liberalization. That these change in the policies attracted multinational companies to the extend their operation to these countries only. Yes, where the multinational companies are liberally or globally, they wanted to do their business only. Their companies only extend their operation, not the all the countries. So that is called multinational companies only. MNCs only doing the business easily through liberalization and globalization. Then next one. Growth in market share. Yes, here the market share means each and every country having their own share in the market level. So that is called market share. So they wanted to grow their market share in the global level market. So that is called growth in market share. So the large scale business firms would like to enhance their market to improve their market share in the global market. How? By expanding and intensify their operation in various foreign countries only. So they wanted to expanding their business in various international or foreign countries. And also the smaller companies expand that internationally for surviving the large companies also to expand to increase their market share. So the major aim is market share will be grown. How it is possible? Only in the global level business, they will be expand their market share. So the growth in market share is only possible in global market. This is the example only. The next one, benefits of international business. Why we are doing international business, or what are the benefits we are gaining from international business? The first one, high living standard, because in the domestic country will be enjoying the living standard will be high, means only they will be export the goods and services from the domestic country to other countries or the foreign countries. So the first benefit is high living standard. That government, the domestic government only wanted to increase their people standard of living. So the first benefit is high living standards. And the second one, increased socio-economic welfare. Is not only the social welfare, and economic welfare is very important. Why? Because of the without the economic welfare, they cannot do any business in the international level. That is why the second benefit is increase the social and economic welfare also. So socio-economic welfare means it is a enhance the consumption level and the economic welfare of the people trading countries only. This is the example only because the China is more goods are exporting overall countries or overall global level. That is why the Chinese consumption level and socio-economic welfare has enhanced. The next one, wider market. The market level will be enlarging. That is called wider market because in international level, the market level is increasing or it is a extended. That is called wider market. So the international business widens the market and also increase the market size also. So therefore, the companies need not depend on the demand for the product on the single country or customer's taste and preference of a single country. So in the international level, they will easily enlarge the market level or the market size. Here the market size means their level only. For example, suppose, for example, if only the 10 lakhs units only, the production will be in the year in the domestic country. Suppose it is in the international level means it is a 1 lakh million. So that is called the size of market will be enlarging. That is called wider market. The volume of the market will be enlarging. That is called wider market. Yes. So this is called only the demand is not only for the single country. They are meeting the international level demand and the international level customers taste and preferences. That is why the market size will be enlarging. So this is an example only. The next one, reduce the effects of business cycles. Yes, already we know business cycle means it's ups and downs. Cycle means what? It is a periodically ups and downs only. For example, suppose the business are in the peak level. What happened? Again, 1 or 2 months or 1 or 2 years. After that, it will be declining. Again, it will be stagnation. There is no improvement. After that, it will be slightly moving. That is called growth. Then growth will be reaches the maximum level. That is called the peak. So this ups and downs, that is called business cycle. But in international level, it will be reduced. The effect of international level, effects of business cycles in international level, it will be reduced. So the stages of the business cycles vary from country to country. Yes, that is why the MNCs shift from the country experiencing a recession to the country experiencing boom conditions also. So this enables international firms to escape recessionary condition. So simply we say, suppose the business is going to not the profit level, they are going to the loss level. That is called recession period. So what happened? That country will move to the next country doing their business because they wanted to earn the profit only because of they are having the more choices in international level business. But in the domestic country or the domestic level uh, trade, it is not possible. That is why the MNCs are always shifting their experience where the boom is or where the peak is in the country. So they are going to that country. That is called MNCs are shifting from the country. Where they are shifting from the country, recession. So if it is a recession, recession means the all the levels will be in the stagnation or it will be goes down. It is a loss only. That is called recession only. There is no economic development, there is no growth in the economy. That is called recession. So in the recession period, it will be move the next country. So that is called they are shifting from the country, experiencing the recession to the country, experience the boom conditions. Boom means peak or the flourished level of business. So that is called reduce the effects of business cycles. The next one, reduced risk. Yes, usually they are reduced the effects of business cycle means what happened? The risk also reduced only. So both the commercial and political risk will be reduced. Where the risk is very high, they will be move the low risk in the country only. So that country they will be moved. The MNCs companies are move the next country. So that is why the political risk and commercial risk will be reduced for companies engaged in the international business due to spread in the different countries also. So this is an example, multinational which were operating in Earth by USS